So I'm sort of familiar with Mongolia. We've had an exhibit on Mongolia here that the University of Pennsylvania helped us prepare. And we've done a lot of different programs, have a lot of activities with Mongolia that continue. So we're very glad to host you here at the Smithsonian. Dr. Kirk Johnson, who's the director of the museum, was unable to be here at the opening ceremony, but he sends his regards and best wishes for the conference. We'll have 2 days of activities this morning here and in the afternoon at the Library of Congress, and then we come back here for a full day tomorrow for more sessions. And we're very pleased that with the help of the Mongolian Cultural Association, we're putting on a family day on Sunday with a lot of activities with art and dance and costumes and many different things. So if any of you are available to wander with us in the museum, and we'll mostly be out here in the Curious Education Center at that time. So I'd love to introduce the ambassador of Mongolia, who will speak to us for a short while, and he's been a great friend of the Smithsonian's, and we appreciate his coming and giving us some welcoming remarks. So, Your Excellency.
Thank you, Bill. Thank you very much. Good morning, everybody. It's my delight to welcome you all here in this both historically magnificent Smithsonian Natural History Museum to open the 14th Annual Mongolian Studies Conference. I genuinely wish a great deal of success to everyone who is taking part in this conference. At the outset, I would like to extend my warmest appreciation to the Smithsonian Institute, Dr. William Fitzhugh, Director of Arctic Studies Center, Dr. Paula DePriest, Deputy Director of Smithsonian Museum Conservation Institute, and of course to the Library of Congress, especially to Ms. Susan Myagmar, for their tremendous support and hospitality in hosting this conference this year. Also, I applaud both institutions' back team for their timely support and excellent arrangements for making today's event possible. Also, I would like to note with great delight presence here of Venerable Ajay Rinpoche and also Mr. Eric Noble, Senior Policy Advisor to the President of the United States. Exactly 14 years ago, Mongolian Cultural Center initiated the Mongolian Studies Conference as a platform to convene and promote researchers from Mongolia. At present, the conference has become one of the most significant events for Mongolian studies in the United States for many, many scholars and researchers. Today, scholars not only from Mongolia or the United States, but from other countries have taken great interest in its agenda and joined us to share their research and views. Mongolian Studies Conference, which promotes, strengthens our nation's relations in partnership, has become a fine tradition among the international Mongolists. I want to specifically highlight the continuous cooperation many organizations related with Mongolian studies, just to name a few: International Association of Mongolian Studies by Dr. Chuluun, Mongolia Society by Ambassador Pamela Slutz and Dr. Alicia Campi, American Center for Mongolian Studies by Ambassador Adelton. I express my gratitude to Mongolians this morning who have initiated the academic tradition of Mongolian studies for making this event a true partnership platform. I think you would all agree that it's their dedication and efforts to the development of Mongolian studies that we all are gathered here this morning. Ladies and gentlemen, today's conference is being marked as the opening of the first North American Chapter Conference of the International Association of Mongolian Studies, thus making this conference as official part of the International Association of Mongolian Studies which has already its European and Asian chapters. With this being said, North American chapter will have regular and broader range of geographical outreach. This chapter will include not only scholars from American universities, but will include scholars from Canada, Mexico, the Caribbean, including Cuba, thus making the great deal of duty and responsibility for all Mongolian studies scholars. As the conference is being highlighted as the chapter, already some Canadian universities have shown great deal of interest in organizing future conferences, providing just exactly the purpose of North American chapter conference. I would like also to emphasize the importance of the participation of the American universities in their role in the future of Mongolian studies. Universities such as University of California, Berkeley, Indiana University, Western Washington University, University of Pennsylvania are the pivotals of Mongolian studies courses, and many more universities now run programs related to Mongolian language, history, archaeology, arts, culture, socioeconomy, religion, and civilizations. Nonetheless, even to this date, we do not have the separate independent chair for Mongolian studies in any of the nationwide universities, which I believe should be the topic of the discussion. Without a doubt, Mongolian studies have expanded tremendously in the United States since the 20th century, with its world-known famous scholars such as Professor Isaac Schmidt, Owen Lattimore, Ombudjo Hanging, Henry Schwartz, and many, many more. To be frank, I'm of the opinion that in the decades after the end of the Cold War, Mongolian studies experienced a relative decline in North America and has yet to meet the expectations of Mongolists and many more scholars. I believe that we need to pay also due attention to the contemporary Mongolian studies, including socio-economic, legal environment of today's Mongolia, which would allow us to get more support from business entities interested in Mongolia. Using this opportunity, I sincerely hope that the conference will ultimately present us with the recommendations toward our unified future visions and goals for Mongolian studies. I personally see the conference as a gateway for the future of North American Mongolian studies. Mongolian Embassy in Washington, D.C. and the Mongolian Embassy in Ottawa, Canada are eager to support research institutes, universities, non-profit organizations to incorporate Mongolian studies in its curriculum and profile, to actively involve foreign scholars in promoting Mongolia, and facilitate their participation through overarching guidelines. As a result, I see a great prospect in deepening people-to-people ties, cultural exchanges, and make our contribution to the development of Mongolian studies in North America. Last year, His Excellency Mr. Batulga, President of Mongolia, paid official visit to the United States of America, during which both countries agreed to elevate their bilateral relations into a strategic partnership. This significantly increased the interest of Americans to Mongolia. Also, many more interesting developments have been taking place in USA, which are catching public interest to Mongolia. Just to name a few, Mongolian Hu band, very popular rock band, which introduced a new trend in rock, had very successful North America tour last September, and they're planning to come on new tour this year. Mr. Chingun Sirgling, Mongolian teenager, who is a Hollywood hit with his sketch comedy series All That by Nickelodeon. Boxing champion Mr. Nyambayr Tuksokt, or King Tag, is facing World Boxing Council World Feather title just tomorrow in Pennsylvania. For the past 10 years, Chinggis Khan exhibition in USA has traveled numerous cities. Just lately, Charlotte in North Carolina, Mobile in Alabama, Museum of Rockies in Montana, Kansas City in Missouri. This year's conference has expanded in both its presenters and the audience. We have a total of over 50 scholars and over 40 papers to present, which in comparison to the past has outgrown its presenters by 4 times. Also, this year's conference has a special focus more on the cultural aspect of Mongolia. During Sunday's family recreational activities, our guests can enjoy Mongolian culture, past and present, through performances, interactive art demonstrations, and be inspired by throat singers, long song singers, musicians, and dancers. I believe the frontiers of Mongolian studies are vast, and there are no limitations. The government of Mongolia will exert every effort to further developing Mongolian studies abroad, and I am confident this will be implemented through our joint efforts. And I'm sure that everyone here is looking forward to hearing many spectacular presentations from our scholars and presenters today and tomorrow. I wish you all a successful conference. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ambassador. I would like to recognize Eric Noble. If you could just stand up and say hi. He's here from the White House, from the OSTP, and we're very pleased that he's been able to join us. So, Saruul, would you like to make a few comments? Saruul is the one who we have to thank for almost everything that is happening here, in not only today, but for several years, many years back. And he's been a wonderful architect, a supporter of the Mongolian Cultural Center. He's brought this project from a very small little group to a large undertaking, and most amazingly, he's produced, with the assistance of the scholars today, a book of our papers that is being presented at the same time we give them, which is very unusual. Congratulations, Saruul.
Thank you. Wow, thank you. Yeah, it's thank you, Dr. Fitzhugh. It's not only Saruul. We have a Mongolian Cultural Center team, so I think you all met them there. So it's a big work. Yes, it's a huge work. It's just right after this conference finishes, we start our next year's conference. It starts to work. It's a whole year round, and it's very happy here. And I would like to express my deepest appreciation to the Smithsonian Natural History Museum for hosting this year's conference. Never in my wildest dream I imagined we would be holding our conference at this prestigious institute. Thank you. Thank you very much. And also, it's my honor to welcome our professors' team, strong team from Mongolian National University of Culture and Art. And they send us not only the scholars, but also the performers, all the professors' team with 9 members, and then they're co-organizing this conference. So thank you for National University of Art and Culture. And also, thank you. And also, I appreciate the presence of Ambassador Dr. Yondon Otgonbayar and all the embassy staff here. And we are co-organizing this meeting for many years. And of course, thank you for all the presenters who have come, who have arrived here from far and from near. And without you, of course, this kind of the conference it's impossible. So, yep, that's it. And I also appreciate our moderators. Please, you're very important in this conference. Please keep your time, and I appreciate the moderators that you agreed to work as a moderator in this conference. Thank you.
I also wanted to acknowledge Jonathan Adelton, Ambassador Jonathan Adelton, who is, many of you know from his wonderful service that he gave to Mongolia for the United States for many years. He has also been the director of the American Center for Mongolian Studies for the last several years too, and we thank him for that work. He's going on to some very interesting work here in the future, so we wish you the best of luck. So is Altantsetseg Chuluun. where is, that's you. Please, do you have some comments? Thank you.
Esteemed scholars, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our conference on arts and culture among the Mongolians, which our university is co-hosting for the first time in our long and rich history. I would like to convey the greeting of our university president, Dr. Saruul-Erdene, to everyone present. I would like to Mongolian National University in Arts Culture, founded 1990, offer bachelor, master and doctoral degree in diverse fields of arts and culture. Our university is devoted to research, training and promotion Mongolians' intangible and tangible heritage, cultural heritage, so cultivated the interaction between national culture, cultural innovation. In 2016, our university hosted the Culture and Religion section on the 11th International Conference Mongolian Studies, which was provided tangible results in expanding of the involvement of the arts culture sector in Mongolian studies. At the conference, our university initiated a proposal of hold international conference for arts and culture studies for Mongolian study scholars every 2 years, each day a specific theme. Under the banner of this initiative, conference on the cultural world of the Mongolians, heritage, values and arts was organized in 2019 with support from the Ministry of Education, Culture, Science and Sports, the Mongolian Academy of Sciences, the National Council on Mongolian Studies and the Prime Minister, and the International Association for Mongolian Studies. The conference was attended 84 scholars from 11 countries and many valuable cultural, scientific ideas were exchanged. This was but on contribution of our university, fulfillment of our social obligations to support of train the next generation of scholars through their research, study, preservation, and promotion of Mongolians' unique nomadic culture, which is an integral, invaluable part of the cultural humankind. We are pleased to co-organize in the 14th Annual Mongolian Studies Conference, along with the Mongolian Culture Center in America, the Smithsonian National Museum Natural History, and Embassy of Mongolia to the US. The significance of this lie special results by valuable studies in order to understand and epoch assess symbolism and attributes Mongolian arts and culture by the many national and international artists and scholars. Describe the different from the approach to national culture and customs. On behalf of the Mongolian National University Arts and Culture, I would like to express our deepest gratitude to our co-organizers and the participating scholars who are providing valuable contributions throughout the preservation and promotion of Mongolia's cultural heritage and tradition. I send you all my best wishes for the very successful conference.
Thank you very much for your remarks.